The ship was dying. Park Do-yun could feel it in the way the controls shook under his hands. He could hear it in the groaning of metal and the screaming of damaged engines. Red warning lights filled the cockpit, and alarms rang so loud that his ears hurt. "We need to land now," shouted Yoon Jae-soo from the engineering station. His fingers moved fast across the screens, trying to keep the ship alive for a few more minutes. "The left engine is gone. The right one will follow in 10 minutes, maybe less." Do-yun did not answer. He was too busy fighting with the controls, trying to guide the Wanderer toward the green moon that filled the viewport. The moon had no name on any map. It was covered in thick jungle, and there were no cities or stations on its surface. But it had air they could breathe, and right now that was enough. Behind him, Han Mira held onto her seat as the ship shook violently. She was the ship's medic, a quiet woman with gentle hands and worried eyes. "Can we make it?" she asked. "We will make it," Do-hyun said through his teeth. "Hold on!" The Wanderer broke through the clouds. Trees stretched out below them like a green ocean. Do-hyun searched for a clearing, any open space where he could bring the ship down. He found one near a river, a small gap in the endless forest. The landing was not gentle. The ship hit the ground hard, bounced twice, and slid through mud and trees before finally stopping. Everything went quiet except for the hissing of broken pipes and the ticking of cooling metal. Do-yun sat still for a moment, his hands still gripping the controls. Then he let out a long breath. "Everyone alive?" "Alive," Jae-soo groaned from the floor. He had fallen from his chair during the crash. "I am okay," Mira said softly. She was already checking herself for injuries, a habit from her medical training. Do-yun stood up slowly. His body ached, but nothing was broken. He looked around the cockpit at the damaged screens and flickering lights. The Wanderer was his home, his livelihood, everything he had built over 15 years of hard work. And now it sat broken in an alien jungle because of pirates who wanted their cargo. The cargo was gone now. The pirates had taken it all. They had left the Wanderer drifting in space, damaged and alone. Do-yun and his small crew had barely escaped with their lives. "Jae-soo, how bad is it?" Do-hyun asked. Jae-soo pulled himself up and looked at his screens. His face was grim. "Bad, very bad, but not impossible. If we can find the right materials, I can fix the engines. It will take time, days, maybe a week." Do-yun nodded. "Then we start now. Mira, stay with the ship. Jae-soo, come with me. We need to see what is outside." The jungle air was thick and warm. Strange sounds filled the forest. Calls of animals they had never heard before. The trees were tall, with bark that shimmered like metal, and leaves that glowed faintly in the dim light. This moon was beautiful, Do-hyun thought, but also dangerous. They did not know what lived here. The two men walked around the ship, checking the damage from outside. The left side was badly burned from the pirate attack. One engine was completely destroyed. The hull had cracks in several places. It was a miracle they had survived the landing. "I will need parts from somewhere," Jae-soo said, kicking a piece of broken metal. "We do not have enough supplies on board." Do-yun was about to answer when something caught his eye. Through the trees, maybe 200 meters away, he saw something that did not belong. Metal. Not natural metal like the trees, but smooth, manufactured metal reflecting the light. "Do you see that?" Do-yun pointed. Jae-soo squinted. "Another ship?" They moved carefully through the jungle, pushing aside thick vines and stepping over roots that twisted across the ground. As they got closer, Do-yun's heart beat faster. It was indeed a ship, but not like any he had seen before. The wreckage was strange and beautiful. The metal was white and curved like bone. The design was organic, as if the ship had been grown rather than built. It had crashed hard, much harder than the Wanderer. Large pieces were scattered across the jungle floor, and the main body was split open like a broken egg. "Alien," Jae-soo whispered. "This is an alien ship." Do-yun had seen alien ships before, in distant stations and on news broadcasts. The galaxy was full of different species, many of them more advanced than humans. But humans rarely met them face to face. Most alien empires wanted nothing to do with the young, aggressive species from Earth. "This crash is recent," Do-yun said, touching the metal. It was still warm. "Maybe a day old, maybe less." They searched the wreckage carefully. Do-hyun found bodies, alien bodies, thrown across the ground. They were tall and thin, with blue skin and delicate features. Their eyes were closed in death. He counted 4 of them, all adults, all wearing what looked like military uniforms. Then he heard it, a small sound, weak and frightened, a whimper. Do-hyun moved toward the sound. He pushed aside a piece of broken hull and found her. She was small, much smaller than the dead adults. A child, clearly. Her skin was the same iridescent blue, but paler, almost white from blood loss. 2 thin antennae lay flat against her head, twitching slightly. Her large eyes, silver like mirrors, looked up at him with pure terror. She was injured badly. One of her legs was trapped under debris, and dark blue blood pooled beneath her. She tried to move away from Do-hyun, but she was too weak. She made a sound that might have been a word in her language, but he did not understand it. "Jisoo!" Do-hyun called. "Get Mira, now!" He knelt beside the child slowly, keeping his movements gentle. He did not know her species. He did not know if she could understand him, but he spoke anyway, keeping his voice soft and calm. "It is okay. I will not hurt you. I am here to help." The child stared at him. Her breathing was fast and shallow. She was dying, Do-hyun realized. Without help, she would die here in this jungle, alone and afraid. He could walk away. This was not his problem. The alien species might be dangerous. They might be enemies of humanity. Helping her could bring trouble he did not need. But she was a child, just a child. Do-hyun made his decision. He carefully lifted the debris from her leg, ignoring her cries of pain. Then he picked her up gently, cradling her small body against his chest. She weighed almost nothing. "I have you," he said. "You are safe now." She did not understand his words, but perhaps she understood his tone. Her struggling stopped. Her silver eyes looked up at his face, and slowly, very slowly, one of her small hands gripped the fabric of his shirt. Do-hyun carried her back to the Wanderer. Behind him, Jisoo followed in silence. Neither of them knew what this decision would mean. Neither of them knew that this small, broken child would change everything. But in that moment, none of that mattered. There was only a man, a child, and the simple truth that some things were more important than safety. The alien child lay on the medical bed, her blue skin looking almost gray under the ship's lights. Mira worked quickly, her hands steady even though she had never treated an alien before. She cleaned the wounds, stopped the bleeding, and wrapped the injured leg in bandages. The child was unconscious now, her breathing slow but steady. "Will she live?" Do-hyun asked. He stood in the doorway of the medical bay, his arms crossed over his chest. Mira wiped sweat from her forehead. "I think so. Her body is different from ours, but not too different. She lost a lot of blood, but she is young and strong. If there is no infection, she should recover." Jisoo appeared behind Do-hyun. "Captain, can we talk?" "Alone?" They walked to the cargo hold, now empty after the pirate attack. Jisoo's face was serious, more serious than usual. "Do you know what you have done, Son?" he asked. "I saved a child." "You saved an alien child. We do not know what species she is. We do not know if her people are friendly or hostile. If they are powerful, they might think we kidnapped her. If they are enemies of humans, they might kill us just for touching her." Do-hyun listened without expression. Jisoo was not wrong. In the galaxy, humans were seen as newcomers, sometimes as threats. Many alien empires had strict laws about contact with humans. Some viewed humanity as little more than clever animals. Getting involved with aliens was always dangerous. "What would you have me do?" Do-hyun asked quietly. "Leave her to die?" Jisoo opened his mouth, then closed it. He looked away. "No, I suppose not. But we need to be careful, very careful." The child woke up the next morning. Mira was the first to see her eyes open, those strange silver mirrors reflecting the light. The child immediately tried to get up, tried to run, but her injured leg could not hold her weight. She fell back onto the bed with a cry of pain. "Easy, easy," Mira said softly. She held up her hands, showing she had no weapons. "You are safe here. No one will hurt you." The child did not understand the words. She pressed herself against the wall, as far from Mira as she could get. Her antennae were flat against her head, and her whole body was shaking. Doyun came in when he heard the noise. The child saw him and went still. She remembered him. He could see it in her eyes, the recognition. He was the one who had carried her from the wreckage. He sat down on the floor, making himself small and unthreatening. He did not try to touch her or get close. He just sat there waiting. Minutes passed. Slowly, the child's shaking stopped. Her antennae lifted slightly from her head. She watched Doyun with those silver eyes studying him. He smiled at her. "Hello," he said. "My name is Doyun." She did not answer, but she did not look away either. Over the next few days, a slow and careful dance began. Doyun spent hours with the child, sitting near her bed, talking to her even though she could not understand. He showed her small things, objects from the ship, pictures on his datapad. He played music for her, old songs from Earth that his mother used to sing. The child watched everything with intense curiosity. Her fear slowly faded, replaced by something else. Interest, wonder. Her silver eyes followed Dohyun wherever he went. On the fourth day, she spoke her first word. Dohyun was showing her how to play a simple card game when she pointed at herself and said, "Lyra." Dohyun felt his heart jump. "Lyra, is that your name?" She pointed at herself again. "Lyra." He pointed at himself. "Dohyun." She tried to say it, but the sounds were difficult for her mouth. It came out as Dohyun Nim, with a strange musical quality to the syllables. Dohyun laughed, the first real laugh he had made since the pirate attack. Close enough. After that, Lyra began learning human words at an amazing speed. Her species, whatever they were, seemed to have a natural gift for language. Within a week, she could speak in simple sentences. Within 2 weeks, she could hold basic conversations. She told them about the attack on her ship. Bad people had come, she said, people with weapons and angry faces. Her guardians had tried to protect her, but there were too many enemies. The ship had run, but it was damaged. They crashed on the moon, and she was the only one who survived. She did not say who she was or where she came from. When Dohyun asked, she went quiet, her antennae pressing flat against her head. There was fear there, old and deep. She was hiding something, but Dohyun did not push her. She was just a child. She would tell them when she was ready. Meanwhile, Jisoo worked on the ship. He used parts from the alien wreckage to fix the Wanderer's engines. The alien technology was advanced, but he was clever. Slowly, the ship came back to life. One night, Dohyun sat with Lyra in the observation room. The stars filled the window, thousands of tiny lights against the black. Lyra pressed her small hands against the glass, her eyes wide with wonder. "Where is your home?" she asked. "Which star?" Dohyun pointed to a distant corner of the sky. Far away, a yellow star called Sol. Earth is a blue planet that circles around it. Blue like water? Yes, Earth has many oceans. More water than land. Lyra was quiet for a moment. My home is far too. Very far. She looked down at her hands. I do not know if I can go back. Dohyun felt a pain in his chest. This child, so young and so alone. Her whole world had been destroyed in a single day. Everyone who protected her was dead. She had nothing left but strangers who did not even speak her language properly. We will find a way, he said. I promise. She looked up at him. You promise? I promise. That night, Jisoo came to Do-hyun with troubling news. He had intercepted a coded signal, a broadcast spreading across multiple frequencies. Someone was searching for a missing alien child of high importance. The description matched Lyra perfectly, and the bounty for her return was enormous, more money than Do-hyun had ever seen in his life. Someone powerful is looking for her, Jisoo said. Very powerful, and they are not the only ones. Every bounty hunter in this sector will be searching. Do-hyun looked at the numbers on the screen. With that money, he could buy a new ship. He could retire, live comfortably for the rest of his life. All he had to do was hand over one alien child to whoever was paying. The thought made him sick. Delete the message, or he said, Captain, that money could change everything for us. I said delete it. Jisoo stared at him for a long moment. Then he nodded slowly. Yes, Captain. Do-hyun walked back to the observation room. Lyra had fallen asleep by the window, her small body curled up like a cat. The stars reflected in her closed eyes. He picked her up gently and carried her to her bed. She mumbled something in her sleep, words in her own language that he did not understand, but her hand found his shirt again, gripping tight. She is not cargo, Do-hyun whispered to himself. She is a kid. He pulled a blanket over her and watched her sleep. Outside, the jungle sang its strange songs. Somewhere in the galaxy, powerful forces were searching for this child. Danger was coming. Do-hyun could feel it. But for now, in this moment, she was safe, and he would keep her safe, no matter what it cost him. The Wanderer lifted off from the jungle moon on a gray morning. The engines hummed with new life, a mix of human engineering and alien technology that Jisoo had somehow made work together. The ship was not perfect, but it could fly. That was enough. Lyra watched through the window as the green world grew smaller and smaller. She pressed her hand against the glass, saying goodbye to the place where her guardians had died, where her old life had ended. A tear ran down her blue cheek, but she did not make a sound. Do-hyun sat in the pilot's seat, guiding the ship through the atmosphere and into the black of space. He had no real plan yet. Lyra still had not told them where she came from. Until she did, they could only run and hide. "Where do we go?" Mira asked from her seat. "Away from here," Do-hyun said. "The longer we stay in one place, the easier we are to find." They traveled for 2 days without trouble. Do-hyun chose quiet routes, avoiding major shipping lanes and busy stations. The Wanderer was a small ship, easy to miss if no one was looking. He hoped that would keep them safe. On the 3rd day, their luck ran out. "Contact," Jisoo shouted from his station. "3 ships coming fast from the left. They are not friendly." Do-hyun looked at his screens. 3 vessels, small and fast, with the rough look of pirate ships. They had found them somehow. Maybe they had tracked the alien technology in the Wanderer's engines. Maybe someone had seen them leave the moon. It did not matter now. "All hands, hold on," Do-hyun said calmly. "We are going to run." The chase began. The Wanderer dove into an asteroid field, a dangerous maze of spinning rocks and ancient debris. Do-hyun flew like a man possessed, turning and twisting through gaps that should have been too small. Behind them, the pirate ships followed, firing weapons that lit up the darkness. "They are gaining!" Jisoo called out. An asteroid exploded to their right, hit by enemy fire. Pieces of rock scattered across space. One piece struck the Wanderer's hull with a sound like thunder. Mira screamed. Somewhere in the ship, something broke. Lyra appeared in the cockpit doorway. Her face was pale, her antennae pressed flat with fear, but her voice was steady when she spoke. "I have to tell you something." "Not now, little one," Do-hyun said, his hands dancing across the controls. "You need to know. You need to understand why they are hunting me." Another explosion, closer this time. The ship shook violently. Do-hyun gritted his teeth and pulled the Wanderer into a tight spin around a massive asteroid. "I am listening," he said. Lyra took a deep breath. "My mother is Queen Soren. She rules the Velen Dominion. I am the princess of my people." The cockpit went silent except for the sound of alarms. Jisoo turned around slowly. "Princess? You are a princess?" "I was being taken to a diplomatic meeting when our ship was attacked. The enemies knew who I was. They wanted to capture me, to use me against my mother. My guardians died trying to protect me." Do-hyun processed this information while still flying through the asteroid field. The Velen Dominion. He knew that name. Everyone knew that name. They were one of the most powerful alien empires in the galaxy, with a military that could crush human civilization without trying. And they hated humans. They thought humanity was dangerous, untrustworthy, not worth their time. "Does your mother know you are alive?" Mira asked. Lyra shook her head. "I do not know. Maybe she thinks I am dead. Maybe she is looking for me. I was afraid to tell you because—" She looked down at her feet. "Because humans and Velen do not trust each other. I thought you might be scared. I thought you might leave me." Do-hyun laughed. It surprised everyone, including himself. Here they were, running for their lives through an asteroid field, and he was laughing. "Little one," he said, "I am already scared. Finding out you are a princess does not change anything." "It does not. No. You are still a child who needs help. I made a promise to get you home. I do not break my promises." Lyra's eyes filled with tears again, but this time she was smiling. Another alarm screamed. One of the pirate ships had gotten close. Too close. Its weapons locked onto the Wanderer. "Brace yourselves," Do-hyun shouted. He did something crazy. He turned the ship directly toward the pirate vessel, accelerating at full speed. For a moment, it looked like they would crash. The pirate pilot panicked and turned away, but too late. His ship smashed into an asteroid and exploded in a ball of fire. Two ships left. Jisoo was laughing now too, the mad laughter of someone who could not believe he was still alive. "Captain, you are insane!" "Maybe," Do-hyun admitted. "Hold on, this is not over." The asteroid field ended suddenly, opening into clear space. The Wanderer shot out like an arrow, the two remaining pirate ships close behind. Do-hyun pushed the engines harder than they were meant to go. Jisoo's repairs held barely. "There!" Mira pointed at the screens. "A jump point! We can escape!" The jump point was a natural phenomenon, a place where the fabric of space was thin enough to slip through into hyperspace. It was their only chance. The pirates fired everything they had. Energy bolts streaked past the Wanderer's hull. One hit the rear shields and sparks flew through the cockpit. Another hit and another. The shields were failing. 30 seconds to jump point, Jisoo announced. "We will not make it," Mira said quietly. Do-hyun did not answer. He flew. He pushed the Wanderer beyond its limits, beyond what any ship should be able to do. 20 seconds, 15, 10. A final shot from the pirates. It hit the left engine, and the whole ship screamed in protest. Fire alarms went off. Jisoo was shouting numbers and warnings. 5 seconds. The Wanderer reached the jump point and vanished into hyperspace. Behind them, the pirates stopped at the edge, unable to follow. In hyperspace, tracking was almost impossible. The Wanderer had escaped. Do-hyun slumped back in his seat. His hands were shaking. His whole body was shaking. He could hear Jisoo laughing and crying at the same time. Mira was praying quietly to gods Do-hyun did not know. Lyra walked slowly to his side. She reached out and took his hand. Her small fingers were cold, but her grip was strong. "Thank you," she whispered. "Thank you for not leaving me." Do-hyun looked at her, this small alien princess with silver eyes and blue skin. A child who had lost everything and still found the courage to trust a stranger. He squeezed her hand gently. "We are going to get you home," he said, "to your mother, to your people. But Valen's space is very far, and humans are not welcome there. They will not trust you. Then we will make them trust us." Jisoo had stopped laughing. He came over, his face covered in smoke and sweat. "Captain, this is crazy. You know that, right? We are talking about the Velen Dominion. They might kill us on sight." "Maybe," Do-hyun said, "but I made a promise." Jisoo stared at him for a long moment. Then he sighed, the sigh of a man accepting his fate. "Fine, I will plot a course. But when we all die horribly, I want it noted that I said this was crazy." Mira smiled weakly. "Noted." Do-hyun turned back to the stars streaming past in hyperspace. Somewhere ahead, beyond hostile territory and dangerous borders, a mother was waiting for her daughter, and he was going to bring that daughter home. No matter what stood in his way, the journey to Valen space would take 3 weeks. 3 weeks of flying through dangerous territory, avoiding human military patrols and alien checkpoints, surviving on limited food and failing systems. Do-hyun looked at the route on his map and wondered if they were all going to die. But they had no choice. Lyra needed to go home. The first week was the hardest. The Wanderer's left engine, damaged in the escape from the pirates, kept failing. Jisoo spent every waking hour trying to fix it, his hands covered in oil and his eyes red from lack of sleep. He cursed in 3 languages, threw tools across the engine room, and once punched a wall so hard he broke 2 fingers. Mira fixed his hand without saying a word. Then she brought him food and made him sleep. That was how the crew survived, by taking care of each other in small ways. Lyra watched everything with curious eyes. She had never seen humans work together like this. In her palace back home, servants did all the work. The royal family never fixed things or cooked food or cleaned floors. But here, on this small ship, everyone helped. Even the captain mopped the corridors when they got dirty. "Why do you do that?" Lyra asked one day, watching Do-hyun repair a broken light fixture. "Do what?" "Work with your hands. You are the captain. You give orders. Other people should do this work." Do-hyun smiled while connecting 2 wires. On a ship this small, everyone works. We cannot afford to have people who only give orders. Besides, I like fixing things. It makes me feel useful. Lyra thought about this. On my world, people who work with their hands are not respected. Only leaders and warriors have honor. That sounds lonely, Do-hyun said. What happens when something breaks? You have to wait for someone else to fix it? Yes, always. And what if no one comes? Lyra did not have an answer for that. The second week brought new dangers. They had to pass through a region controlled by the Markathi, a species that hated both humans and Velen equally. Do-hyun shut down all non-essential systems and flew the Wanderer through the darkness like a ghost. No lights, no signals, nothing that could be detected. For 3 days they drifted in silence. Lyra slept in Do-hyun's cabin because she was afraid of the dark. He stayed awake in the pilot's seat, watching the screens for any sign of enemy ships. His eyes burned and his body ached, but he did not sleep. He could not sleep, not while his crew and the child depended on him. Mira found him on the third night, slumped over the controls, finally unconscious from exhaustion. She did not wake him. Instead, she took his place in the pilot's seat and watched the stars until morning. When Do-hyun woke up, she just smiled and handed him a cup of hot tea. You cannot protect everyone if you kill yourself first, she said gently. Do-hyun drank the tea and said nothing. But he understood. They escaped Markathi space without being detected. The crew celebrated with a small meal, the last of their fresh food. Jisoo had managed to fix the left engine, at least enough to work. He sat at the table like a king, accepting praise for his engineering skills. I am a genius, he announced. Say it. You are a genius, Mira said, rolling her eyes. I cannot hear you. You are a genius, Jisoo. Thank you. That is all I wanted. Lyra laughed. It was the first time she had truly laughed since they found her, a bright and musical sound that filled the small dining area. Everyone stopped to listen. It was such a simple thing, a child laughing, but it felt like a miracle. That night, Jisoo came to Lyra's room with something in his hands. It was a small figure made of spare parts, wires bent into the shape of a four-legged animal with 2 horns. What is it? Lyra asked. It is called a goat. It is an animal from Earth. They are stubborn and tough, and they never give up, even when things are hard. He placed the figure in her hands. Like you. Lyra held the metal goat carefully. Her silver eyes shimmered with something like wonder. You made this for me? I had extra parts. It was nothing. But Lyra knew it was not nothing. She had seen how hard Jisoo worked, how little time he had for anything except keeping the ship alive. For him to spend hours making a toy just for her meant something. It meant she mattered. Thank you, she said softly. I will keep it forever. Jisoo turned away quickly, but not before Lyra saw him smile. The third week was quieter. They had entered the empty space between human territory and Velen borders, a place with no stations, no planets, nothing but endless darkness. The silence was almost peaceful after all the danger. Lyra spent most of her time learning. She asked Do-hyun about Earth, about human history and culture, and food. She asked Mira about medicine and healing. She asked Jisoo about machines and engines. She absorbed everything like water into dry ground. Your people, she said to Do-hyun one evening, you have only been in space for 200 years? About that, yes. My people have been in space for 10,000 years. We have built empires and destroyed them. We have seen civilizations rise and fall like waves on the ocean. She paused. But in 200 years, you have spread across so many worlds. You adapt so quickly. My people are slow, careful. Humans are like fire. Is that bad? Lyra considered the question. I do not know. Fire can destroy, but it can also give warmth. Maybe humans are both. Do-hyun thought about that for a long time. On the last night before they reached Velen space, Lyra found Do-hyun alone in the observation room. He was staring at the stars, his face serious and tired. Are you afraid? She asked. Yes, he admitted. Your people do not like humans. When we arrive, they might shoot first and ask questions never. But you are still going. I made a promise. Lyra climbed into the seat next to him. She was small enough to fit beside him in the chair, meant for one person. She leaned against his arm, her antennae brushing his sleeve. On my world, she said quietly, we have a word. Sereneth. It means someone who protects without expecting anything in return. Someone who saves you just because it is right. We do not use this word often. Most people expect something when they help others. What are you saying? I am saying that you are Sereneth. You and Mira and Jisoo. You saved me and protected me and asked for nothing. You taught me that humans are not what I thought they were. Doyun felt something warm spread through his chest. We are just people, little one. Good and bad, like anyone else. Maybe, but you showed me the good. She looked up at him with those silver mirror eyes. I will not forget. No matter what happens tomorrow, I will not forget what you did for me. Outside the window, the first patrol ships of the Velen Dominion appeared in the distance, their elegant forms catching starlight. They had arrived at the border. Doyun took a deep breath. Whatever came next, they would face it together. He put his arm around Lyra, and she pressed closer to him, and they watched the future approach. Ready? He asked. Ready, she said. But neither of them moved. For one more moment, they just sat together, two people from different worlds, watching the stars. The Velan warships were beautiful. There was no other word for them. They moved through space like living creatures, their hulls curved and graceful, glowing with soft inner light. Each ship was 10 times larger than the Wanderer, and there were 6 of them forming a wall between the humans and Velan space. Do-hyun stopped the Wanderer and waited. His hands were steady on the controls, but his heart was beating fast. Everything depended on the next few minutes. A voice came through the communication system. It was cold and musical, speaking in the Velan language. Lyra translated quickly. They say we have entered restricted space. We must identify ourselves immediately or be destroyed. Do-hyun activated the communication channel. My name is Park Do-hyun, captain of the human cargo vessel Wanderer. I am here to return someone very important to the Velan people. Silence. The warships did not move, but Do-hyun could almost feel their weapons targeting his small ship. One wrong word, one wrong move, and they would all die. The voice came again. Humans are not permitted in Velan space. Turn back now or face destruction. This is your only warning. Please listen, Do-hyun said. I have Princess Lyra on board, the daughter of Queen Soren. She was attacked and left for dead. I am bringing her home. More silence, longer this time. Then the voice returned, colder than before. The princess died in an attack 3 weeks ago. Her body was never found. You are lying. Prepare to be boarded and arrested. I am not lying. She is here. She is alive. Please, just let her speak to you. The communication cut off. For a terrible moment, nothing happened. Then the warships began to move, surrounding the Wanderer completely. There was no escape. Do-hyun, Jisoo said quietly from his station. They are scanning us. All weapons, all cargo, everything. Let them scan. We have nothing to hide. A smaller vessel separated from the largest warship and approached the Wanderer. It attached to the cargo door with a loud clang that echoed through the ship. Heavy footsteps followed, the sound of armored soldiers entering. Stay calm, Do-hyun said to his crew. Do not resist, do not fight. The Velan soldiers entered the main corridor. They were tall and imposing, wearing white armor that covered them completely. Their faces were hidden behind helmets with dark visors. Each soldier carried a weapon that glowed with dangerous energy. Leading them was an officer, his armor decorated with silver marks of rank. When he removed his helmet, Do-hyun saw a face of sharp angles and cold intelligence. His skin was deeper blue than Lyra's, and his eyes were not silver but dark purple. I am General Tarek, he announced, commander of the Queen's personal fleet. You are all under arrest for entering restricted space, for spreading lies about the royal family, and for suspected involvement in the attack on the princess's convoy. General, please, Do-hyun said, keeping his voice calm. The princess is here. Let me show you. Tarek's purple eyes studied Do-hyun with obvious disgust. Humans, you lie as easily as you breathe. The princess is dead. Everyone knows this. The queen herself has been in mourning for weeks. Then let me prove you wrong. Just look. Tarek hesitated. Then he nodded sharply. Bring the child you claim is the princess. If you are lying, you will be executed immediately. Mira brought Lyra from her cabin. The girl walked slowly, her injured leg still weak. She wore simple human clothes and her hair was messy from sleep. She looked nothing like a princess. When Tarek saw her, his entire body went still. His purple eyes widened. His mouth fell open slightly. For a long moment, he did not speak at all. "Princess Lyra," he whispered. "General Tarek," Lyra said formally, "it is good to see you again." The general fell to one knee so quickly that his armor clanged against the floor. Every soldier behind him did the same, their movements perfectly synchronized. "Your Highness, we thought you were dead. The whole Dominion has been mourning. Your mother—" He stopped, overwhelmed. "I survived because of these humans," Lyra said, pointing to Do-Yun and his crew. "They found me in the wreckage of my ship. They healed my wounds. They protected me from those who wanted to capture me. They brought me here, across all of space, asking for nothing in return." Tarek slowly raised his head. His eyes moved to Do-Hyun, but the disgust was gone. In its place was confusion, uncertainty. "Is this true, human?" "Yes." "Why? What do you want? Money? Power? Alliance with the Dominion?" Do-Hyun almost laughed. "I want to fix my ship and go home. That is all." Tarek clearly did not believe him. He stood up slowly, his face troubled. "You will come with us to the Queen. She will decide what to do with you. Until then, you are—" He paused, searching for the right word. "You are guests, not prisoners. Guests." The word sounded strange coming from him, like he had never said it to a human before. They were escorted to the largest warship, a massive vessel called the Eternal Dawn. Do-Hyun and his crew were separated from Lyra almost immediately. Soldiers surrounded her and took her away for medical examination and identification. She looked back at Do-Hyun with worried eyes. "It will be okay," he called to her. "I will see you soon." But he was not sure if that was true. The humans were taken to a holding area deep inside the ship. It was not exactly a cell, more like a small apartment with beds and a bathroom. The door was locked, but the room was comfortable. Jisoo paced back and forth. "They do not believe us. Even after seeing Lyra, they still do not trust us." "Would you trust them?" Mira asked. "If the situations were reversed? If aliens appeared with a human child, claiming to have saved her?" "No," Jisoo admitted. "I would not." Do-Yun sat on one of the beds thinking. They had made it this far. They had delivered Lyra to her people. But the journey was not over. The Queen still had to decide their fate. "What do we know about Queen Soren?" he asked. Mira answered. "Not much. The Velan keep to themselves. But from what I have heard, she is powerful and proud. She has ruled for over 100 years. She does not trust outsiders, especially not humans." "Then we need to make her trust us." "How?" Do-Yun did not have an answer. Hours passed. They were brought food, strange alien dishes that tasted like nothing Do-Yun had ever eaten. Some of it was good. Some of it was terrible. He ate anyway, knowing he needed his strength. Finally, the door opened. General Tarek stood there, his face unreadable. "The Queen will see you now," he said. "All of you." They were led through corridors of white and silver, past windows showing the stars and other warships. Velen officers stopped to stare at them, their alien faces full of curiosity and suspicion. Humans on a Velen ship. It had probably never happened before. The throne room was enormous. The ceiling disappeared into shadows high above. The floor was polished stone that reflected light like water. And at the far end, on a raised platform, sat Queen Soren. She was beautiful in a terrifying way, tall and elegant, with skin that glowed faintly blue. Her eyes were silver like Lyra's, but harder, colder. She wore robes of deep purple that flowed around her like liquid. A crown of twisted metal sat on her head, looking less like jewelry and more like thorns. On either side of her stood advisors and guards, dozens of them. But Do-Yun's eyes stayed on the Queen. She was looking at him with an expression he could not read. "Approach," she commanded. Do-Yun walked forward alone. His crew stayed back, as soldiers had indicated. Each step felt like a mile. When he reached the bottom of the platform, he stopped and bowed his head. "Queen Soren, thank you for seeing me." "Human," her voice was cold as winter. "You claim to have saved my daughter. Tell me why I should not execute you where you stand." Doyun raised his head and met her eyes. Because I am telling the truth, and because your daughter is alive because of me. The queen's expression did not change. We shall see. Tell me your story. Tell me everything. And know that if you lie to me, I will know, and you will die slowly. Doyun took a deep breath and began to speak. Doyun told the queen everything. He spoke about the pirate attack that damaged his ship. He described crash landing on the jungle moon and finding the alien wreckage. He told her about carrying Lyra from the ruins, about Mira healing her wounds, about the weeks of recovery and the bond that formed between them. He told her about the chase through the asteroid field, about the bounty hunters and pirates who wanted to capture Lyra for money. He described the dangerous journey through hostile space, the failing engines, the sleepless nights. He told her everything, leaving nothing out. When he finished, the throne room was completely silent. The queen had not moved during his entire story. Her silver eyes stayed fixed on his face, searching for any sign of deception. An interesting tale, she said finally, but I do not believe it. Doyun felt his heart sink. No human has ever helped a Valen without expecting something in return. Your species takes. You conquer. You destroy what you do not understand. This is your nature. It cannot be changed. With respect, Your Majesty, you do not know me. I know your kind. The queen's voice grew harder. When humans first entered the galaxy, they came to our borders asking for trade. We refused, so they went to our enemies and sold them weapons. Thousands of my people died in the war that followed. Doyun said nothing. He knew the history. He could not deny it. Later, humans came again, offering peace. They smiled and spoke sweet words. But we discovered they were mapping our territory, learning our weaknesses, preparing for invasion. We stopped them, barely. The advisors around the queen nodded. Some of them glared at Dohyun with open hatred. Humans have given me no reason to trust them. You have given me no reason to trust you. So tell me, Captain Park Dohyun, why should I believe that you saved my daughter out of kindness? What trick are you playing? What do you really want? Dohyun looked at the queen. She was beautiful and powerful and full of justified anger. Her people had suffered because of humans. Her distrust was earned through pain and blood. Nothing he said could erase that history, but he had to try. Your Majesty, I understand why you hate my people. I cannot excuse what humans have done. We are young and stupid and sometimes cruel. We make mistakes that cost innocent lives. The queen raised an eyebrow, surprised that he was not defending humanity. But we are not all the same, Dohyun continued, just as your people are not all the same. I found a child dying alone in the wreckage of her ship. I did not know who she was. I did not know she was a princess. I only knew that she was hurt and scared and needed help. He paused, gathering his thoughts. I have no tricks. I have no secret plans. I am just a cargo ship captain with a damaged vessel and a small crew. I saw a child who needed saving, and I saved her. That is the entire truth. The queen leaned forward slightly. And you expect nothing in return? I did not save her to gain your trust or your gratitude. I saved her because it was the right thing to do. If you execute me right now, it was still the right thing to do. Lyra is alive. That is what matters. Silence filled the throne room again. The queen studied Dohyun with those cold silver eyes. Then she turned to General Tarek. What does the princess say about this human? Tarek stepped forward. She confirms his story, Your Majesty. Every detail. She says he protected her multiple times at great risk to himself. She says he refused to sell her for the bounty, even when the amount could have made him rich. And what is your opinion, General? Tarek hesitated. This was clearly difficult for him. I have spent my life fighting humans. I have seen them lie and cheat and murder. But this one, he shook his head slowly. This one confuses me. Either he is the greatest deceiver I have ever met, or he is telling the truth. The queen nodded slowly. She rose from her throne, her robes flowing around her like water. She descended the steps until she stood directly in front of Dohyun. Up close, she was even more intimidating. She towered over him, her presence filling the space around them. I have ruled my people for 130 years, she said. In that time, I have learned to read faces to detect lies, to see through deception. When I look at you, human, I see something strange, something I have not seen in your kind before. What do you see? Honesty. Simple, foolish honesty. Her voice carried a hint of wonder. You actually believe what you are saying. You actually saved my daughter simply because you thought it was right. Yes. Why? What possible reason could you have? You are not Valan. She is not your child. Her life means nothing to you. Doyun thought about the question. It was a good question, one he had asked himself many times during the journey. On Earth, where I come from, there is an old saying. It goes, "The measure of a person is not what they do when others are watching, but what they do when no one will ever know." When I found Lyra, no one was watching. No one would have known if I left her to die. But I would have known, and I could not have lived with that. The Queen stared at him for a long moment. Her expression was unreadable. You speak of honor, she said. I speak of being able to sleep at night. Something changed in the Queen's eyes. The coldness faded slightly, replaced by something else. Curiosity, perhaps, or the beginning of understanding. My daughter told me something, the Queen said quietly. She used a word I have not heard in many years. She called you Serenith. Doyun remembered Lyra using that word. She told me what it means. Someone who protects without expecting anything. That word is sacred to my people. We do not use it lightly. To call someone Serenith is the highest honor we can give. The Queen paused. My daughter, who has been raised to be suspicious of outsiders, who has been taught that humans are enemies, called you Serenith. That is significant. She is a remarkable child. Yes, she is. The Queen's voice softened. She is everything to me. When I received word that her ship was destroyed, that there were no survivors, I felt something die inside me. For 3 weeks I have been in mourning. For 3 weeks I have been empty. She reached out and placed her hand on Do-hyun's shoulder. Her touch was cool and light. And then you appear, a human, an enemy, bringing my daughter back to me. She shook her head slowly. The universe is strange. What happens now? Do-hyun asked. Now I must decide what to do with you. The Queen removed her hand and turned away. My advisors want you executed to prevent any possible threat. My general wants you imprisoned, at least until your intentions can be verified beyond doubt. Do-hyun's heart was pounding, but he kept his face calm. But my daughter wants something else, the Queen continued. She wants you to be honored as a hero. She wants me to thank you for saving her life. And what do you want, Your Majesty? The Queen turned back to face him. For the first time, he saw uncertainty in her eyes. This was not easy for her. Everything she believed about humans told her not to trust him, but everything she felt as a mother told her to be grateful. She opened her mouth to speak, and then the doors of the throne room burst open. Lyra ran through them, escaping from her attendants, her injured leg making her movements awkward. She did not run to her mother. She ran straight to Do-hyun and wrapped her arms around him. Please, she said, looking up at the Queen. Please, Mother, he is good. They are all good. Please believe me. The Queen looked at her daughter, clinging to a human like he was the only safe thing in the universe. And something in her expression changed completely. Decision made. The throne room fell into shocked silence. Advisors stared with wide eyes. Soldiers gripped their weapons uncertainly. General Tarek looked like he wanted to pull Lyra away from the human, but could not bring himself to touch the princess. Queen Soren looked at her daughter, small and fierce, holding on to Do-hyun like her life depended on it. And in a way, it did. This human had been her life for weeks. He had fed her, protected her, taught her, and brought her home across the entire galaxy. Lyra, the Queen said softly, come here. No. Lyra's voice was strong, despite her fear. Not until you promise. Not until you promise you will not hurt them. You would defy me? Your queen? You are my mother first. Lyra's silver eyes filled with tears. But she did not let them fall. And mothers listen to their children. That is what Mira told me. She said that good mothers always listen. The Queen's expression flickered. She looked at Mira, standing with Jisoo at the back of the room, surrounded by soldiers. The human woman met her gaze without flinching. This human taught you about mothers? The queen asked. She taught me many things. She held me when I had nightmares. She sang to me when I was scared. She healed my body and my heart. Lyra's grip on Dohyun tightened, and Dohyun showed me what bravery really looks like. Not fighting with weapons, but protecting someone weaker than yourself. That is real bravery. The queen was silent for a long moment. Then she did something that shocked everyone in the room. She walked down from the platform, crossed the floor, and knelt before Dohyun. Her robes pooled around her like purple water. Her crown caught the light as she bowed her head. Gasps echoed through the throne room. Advisors cried out in protest. A queen of the Velen Dominion did not kneel to anyone, especially not to a human. It was unthinkable. It was impossible. Yet there she was, on her knees before a simple cargo ship captain. You have given me back what I thought was lost forever, Queen Soren said. Her voice was thick with emotion. You have returned my daughter to me. You have taught her things that I, in all my wisdom, could not teach. You have shown her that not all strangers are enemies, that kindness can exist in unexpected places. She raised her head and looked directly into Do-hyun's eyes. I have been wrong about humans. Perhaps not all humans, but about you and your crew. I have been wrong and I am sorry. Do-hyun did not know what to say. He had never expected this. He had hoped to survive, maybe to be let go quietly. He had never imagined a queen kneeling before him. Your Majesty, please stand, he said. You do not need to do this. Yes, I do. The queen rose gracefully to her feet. My people need to see this. They need to know that even a queen can admit when she is wrong. They need to understand that our beliefs about humans may not be complete. She turned to address the entire throne room, her voice strong and clear. This human, Park Do-hyun, found my daughter dying in the wreckage of her ship. He did not know who she was. He did not know that saving her could bring him reward or danger. He only knew that a child needed help, and he gave that help freely. The advisors shifted uncomfortably. This was not what they had expected. He protected her from those who would have sold her. He refused a bounty that would have made him wealthy. He brought her across hostile space, through dangers that could have killed him, asking for nothing in return. The queen paused. This is not the behavior of an enemy. This is not the behavior of a monster. This is the behavior of a good person. She turned back to Do-hyun. Name your reward, human. Anything within my power to give, I will give. Gold, ships, territory, alliance with my empire. Name it, and it is yours. Do-hyun looked at Lyra, still holding his hand. He looked at Mira and Jisoo, still surrounded by soldiers but watching with hopeful eyes. He thought about everything they had been through, all the danger and fear and exhaustion. Then he thought about his ship, still sitting damaged in the cargo bay of the Velen warship, the poor wanderer, which had carried them through everything. He smiled. Fix my ship, he said. We have got a long way to go, and the wanderer needs repairs I cannot afford. That is all I ask. The queen stared at him. Then she laughed. It was a beautiful sound, clear and musical, and it seemed to break the tension in the room completely. Fix your ship? You could ask for wealth beyond imagination, and you want me to fix your ship? It is a good ship. It has taken care of us. It deserves to be taken care of in return. The queen shook her head in amazement. You are a strange human, Park Do-hyun. I have been told that before. Very well. Your ship will be repaired. But I will give you more than that. She gestured and servants rushed forward. You will leave Velen space with a cargo hold full of supplies. Food, fuel, medical equipment, whatever you need. This is not payment for saving my daughter, because there is no payment that could equal that. This is simply a gift from a mother grateful to have her child back. Do-hyun bowed his head. Thank you, Your Majesty. And there is one more thing. The queen reached into her robes and pulled out a small device, silver and glowing faintly. She placed it in Do-hyun's hand. This is a direct communication link to my throne. If you ever need anything at all, you can reach me. Consider it a promise that you will always have a friend in the Velen Dominion. Do-hyun looked at the device in his hand. It was warm and pulsed gently with light. Such a small thing, but it represented something huge. Trust, alliance, hope. Thank you, he said again, and this time his voice was rough with emotion. Lyra finally released his hand. She stepped back and looked between her mother and Do-hyun, her silver eyes shining. "Will you visit?" she asked Do-hyun. "When you can. I want to show you my home, the gardens and the libraries and the ocean that glows at night. I want you to meet my tutors and my friends and my pet that has 6 legs." Do-hyun knelt down to her level. "I will visit whenever I can, I promise." "You do not break promises. I know this." "No, I do not." Lyra threw her arms around his neck one last time. She whispered something in his ear, words in her own language that he did not understand, but he understood the feeling behind them. Gratitude, love. The kind of bond that forms when two people survive the impossible together. Then she stepped back to her mother's side, and for the first time she looked like a princess, small and young but somehow regal, like she belonged. 3 days later, the Wanderer departed from Velen space. The ship had been completely repaired, better than new. Jisoo had spent hours examining the upgrades, laughing like a child with a new toy. Mira had organized the medical supplies they had been given, enough to last for years. The cargo hold was filled with food and fuel, and things Do-hyun could not even identify. Do-hyun sat in the pilot's seat, watching the Valen warships grow smaller in the rear window. Somewhere on one of those ships, a princess was waving goodbye. He could not see her, but he knew she was there. Jisoo came up to the cockpit and sat in the co-pilot's seat. He was quiet for a while, which was unusual for him. "You know," he said finally, "when you first brought that alien child onto the ship, I thought you were crazy. I thought you were going to get us all killed. And now?" Jisoo shrugged. "I still think you are crazy, but maybe the right kind of crazy." He paused. "You did a good thing, Captain. I am glad I was here to see it." Mira appeared in the doorway. "The ship is running perfectly. Whatever the Velen did to the engines, it is better than anything we had before." "Good." Do-hyun set the coordinates for their next destination. "Then let us go. We have cargo to haul and money to make. Business as usual? Business as usual." But as the Wanderer jumped to hyperspace, Do-hyun knew things had changed. In his pocket, the communication device pulsed gently with light, a direct line to the Velan throne, a promise of friendship across the stars. Humanity had made its first true ally among the great powers of the galaxy, not through war or conquest or clever diplomacy, but through something simpler: kindness. A man who saved a child because it was the right thing to do. A mother who learned that enemies could become friends. A princess who taught her people that humans were not what they believed. Small things, simple things. But they had changed everything. Do-hyun smiled as the stars streamed past. Somewhere out there, new adventures waited. New challenges, new dangers, new chances to do the right thing. He was ready. The Wanderer flew on into the endless night, carrying its small crew toward whatever came next. And in the observation window, the stars seemed to shine just a little brighter than before.